Welcome to the 3D Expo on-demand virtual event series, hosted by Schein and sponsored by Dentsply Sirona. This video serves as part 2 of the 4-part series, which features Dr. Sam Bollwinkel as he explains how to maximize ROI with CBCT and the 10-minute implant. Enjoy!
Kirsty, thanks so much. Henry Schein, thank you. And we'd like to thank Dentsply Sirona as well for this opportunity to come to you. Welcome to 3D Infusion. Welcome to the playground. We're back open and want to have some fun today. Today we are going to talk about implants. We're going to talk about a lot of very quickly high-level implantology, what that means right now in our industry. What does that mean to me as a GP, and how can I incorporate implants more efficiently using technology and workflows, disruptive workflows? Or if I'm doing implants, can I do them better? Can I do them more predictably? Can I do them more efficiently? And what's my ROI as I start to look at what implants are? These mini-series, once again, let me cue up a quick slide as a review. We have the 3D mini-series that we've collaborated with Henry Schein. I really like to thank them for this concept of being able to be virtual with you live. So again, these are not recorded. I know they are making recordings so you can look back at them, but we're live to you, unscripted, uncut. And we talked about 2D versus 3D last week. We're talking about the 10-minute implant this week. Next week, we're going to go over what else you can do with cone beam. So we want to see what other revenue streams, what other processes, and how powerful that cone beam can be to a practice. If I'm going to be incorporating that into my practice, we challenged you last week with an exercise of conceptually looking at, okay, I've already decided to purchase a cone beam. What does that mean to my practice? Was it a good decision? We evaluated ROI. We evaluated the CEO concept, that as a dentist, you are CEO of your dental practice. As you make financial decisions, investment decision, how can you grow and have a more successful practice? Team integration, just that whole concept. So today is a really powerful opportunity to look at implants and as a revenue stream for my practice. If you've been referring them out or if you're doing a few here and there, how can I predictably introduce or do better implants in my practice? So super excited about that. Let's see. It all is, again, based on the ROI is based off of this concept of the cone beam and bringing that into our practice. And what we're going to talk about today, especially, which I think is super important, is workflow. There's a lot of different tech. There's a lot of different opportunities to get involved with technology in dentistry today, from cone beam to 3D to laser to ortho to implant, from digital printing to milling, from third parties to completely in-house. And I think one of the unique pieces that Dentsply Sirona brings to it, and why we have them sponsor us today, is we're talking about a family of products, a workflow that is completely centralized in my office. So as we know, dentists, we are a little bit controlling. We like to, it's hard to give up control and push out. I guess the term would be, that giving up the control nature of our business. And so using a third party, taking some scans or impressions, sending out, having a lab, and just being, disassociated from that concept can be sometimes difficult. We run into problems. I know I did over the 20 years of my career prior to introducing technology. I would get different things back from labs, and there would be some distortions, there would be some issues. Is it on their side? Is it on my side? The Dentsply Sirona workflow is just amazing. So as you look at this screen, what we're going to be talking about is having a CAD/CAM system that talks to a cone beam system that then talks back to a CAD/CAM system that allows me then to CNC mill a CEREC guide. So the same equipment that I used to do crown and bridge every day now is expanded function, allows me to bring in implants and provide an implant solution to my patients on a predictable nature and efficient nature. And as we're going to demonstrate live today, a 10-minute implant. So, what could go wrong? We were having this discussion last week with a couple of doctors after our broadcast, and they were kind of teasing on I'm exposing myself. This is me live, raw. This is uncut. It's unedited. And so we are excited to be able to show you what that means as we bring implants into our P. Oh, we got a shout out. We got from last week, Dr. Dypak. Oh, nice to see you online again. I believe he's coming from the Bay Area. Great to have you with us. Those that were on last week, we'd love to see you back again this week. We want to see you the next week. And ultimately, all this is culminating in this concept of a one-day virtual. So on March, I believe it's 19th, we're going to be wanting to stream with you live from your practices and introduce this technology, these concepts, and walk through some workflows and give you as much of the real Expo experience as we can in this virtual world that we're still in, probably for the next couple of months. So with that, let's talk about the power of technology. Last week we talked about a little bit about the technology, and as we talk about the power of technology, we really want to step into this cone beam concept. If you've not seen a cone beam image before, it's very similar. I've got patients all the time while I take this scan, and they'll look and go, "Oh yeah, I had that done, at the other office." Well, you actually really didn't, because this is super unique. This allows us to bring a 3D image up. I love to show this image right here. If you're seeing that large on your screen, with the Zoom, sometimes the screens, depending on how the gallery is shared, click on my screen, make this large, you'll be able to see that imagery a little bit better. But this is just amazing technology to be able to see this. I show my patients this just about every time I take a scan. It blows their mind. But let's talk about what cone beam is. This is a cone beam is a device that takes about 1,000 slices, 1,000 different images, puts it together through the software, combines and creates this 3D image. And what I wanted to demonstrate today is just a quick look at the manipulation of the software. So when I get an image of a software, this is what we do. I come through, and as you're seeing there, I'm just going to pan through this image, and I'm looking at the sinuses. I'm looking at the septum, the concha. I'm going up, looking at the sphenoid sinuses. I'm panning all the way up. I'm going to pan back down. And really what I'm looking for is any abnormalities, anything that is not bilateral. So if there's a growth, if there's something that's off, I'm going to see that in the image. And from there, I can kind of isolate and evaluate it further. So literally, as I take image and evaluation, I literally can go through it this quickly. I can do it in my hygiene rooms with my patients, new patients or existing patients, pan through. So I've been looking at the sinuses there. I'm looking at airway over here. We're centralized a nice open airway. I can bring it back, and I'm going to look through the jawbone. I'll look to see if there's any abscesses. Kind of cool. We've got some root canals over here, so I can literally screen over and just evaluate the root canals. Obviously, we can see some issues with that tooth there. But we're also looking at this patient. This is our patient today that we're working with and providing implants on this lower right side. So quite literally now I can come in, and if I'm evaluating this patient, the new patient coming into my practice, I'm going to want to look at this and go, well, what's the opportunity to do an implant? I can measure down the bone. I've got 13 millimeters to there, and I can kind of pass through this and go, yeah, 13 millimeters. I've got plenty of room. There's my nerve canal here. As I pan back, I can see my nerve canal as it goes back. I'm down from 13 millimeters from the crestal bone height down. So with that in mind, literally it's that quick with a little bit of practice going through and scanning an image and evaluating an image is really that easy and that quick. The great thing with this now is with the SICAT 2.0 software, now I have an opportunity to actually bring a lot of this information together. So let's talk about implantology. I know when we were getting started, we had a couple of questions about implants and about the tech and the power of the software. We want to address those really quick before we dive too much into the software. What are our questions that we had out coming in? First question, which cone beam do I have? I have a Galileos. It's no longer being produced. It's a large field of view. They've changed the sensor. There's the Axios now, and I believe the Axios field of view is similar. Where's my guys behind the scenes there? Similar to the Gallus, 17 centimeters. So it's a very large field of view. I like the large field of view. This is a discussion we had last week with Dr. Timothy. The more I see, the more I can diagnose. The more I can diagnose, the better I can help my patients. I can treat. I can find revenue streams. So I'm more successful. The patient is, in my opinion, treated better with the larger field of view.
How can you tell bone density in the scan?
Yeah, that's a great question. How do you tell bone density in the scan? As we go through the images, again, probably the easiest question on that, so we don't get too deep into it, receive some training. There's training that's associated with a cone beam when you purchase a cone beam from Dentsply Sirona. That training is going to walk through and show you very easily how you can see bone density. I've got, as we prep, especially as you look at implantology, you're removing teeth, you're looking at the bone growing back. It's amazing to be able to look at that, evaluate bone density, and be able to go, okay, let's move forward with an implant because the site's ready. Great question.
Lastly, which tech of all the awesome tech behind you, which tech would you recommend?
So the question is, if you didn't hear it, which tech of all of this tech in our playground, all these toys, which one could I not live without? So that's a leading question. Let me show you what's behind me. We've got CEREC, if you're not familiar with CEREC, so it's a direct image capture. It's all digital. You've got the cone beam image. The cone beam's in the hallway, so you don't see it, but the image is there. We've got treatment center. So behind me, we're going to show you a little bit of the treatment centers. Treatment center from Dentsply Sirona has if you're doing root canals, has an apex locator incorporated. It has my implant motor. It memorizes the patient's location. It has a massager in the chair. It's an amazing piece of technology for efficiencies and just patient interaction. All of them together are amazing. I would say do all of them. That's what I did. If I only had to do one, I could only choose one. Cone beam, hands down, bar none, is the number one that I would purchase and the number one I would keep of all the technologies. It allows me to see more. It's taken the blinders off in my opinion. I can just see things I've never been able to see before. I have conversations with my patients I've never been able to have. I feel it's made me a better dentist, and it's given a better opportunity for my patients to receive services better than they've ever been able to receive before. So I can't say enough about cone beam and what it's done for me, my practice, and my patients. Sound good? Okay, let's jump over to implant, this implant workflow concept. There's a couple of terms that we need to know about. We need to know about implant-driven or restorative-driven implantology. We're talking about a digital version of it. There's other couple different versions. You can kind of go analog, but digital is where everybody's going right now. But restorative-driven implantology is an interesting concept. It is one where conceptually, as dentists, as especially general practitioners, if you've been out in the field at all for any amount of time, it makes sense. The restoration pretty much should tell us what, aesthetics, function, and longevity of anything we do in the mouth. It's really, what is that restoration doing? How does it look? How does it fit? Implantology, which is really an interesting piece of our practice, has been introduced and it's been in our profession for many, many years. It really came from a surgical concept of going in, finding the bone, placing the implant, and then after the fact, as general practitioners, we're trying to figure out how to get a restoration on there the best way we can. What restorative-driven implantology is now the restoration is dictating what type of implant we place, how deep do we place it, where does it go, and the only way to do that, in my opinion, is through this CEREC technology. I don't know of any other system that truly goes restorative-driven so far as to actually dictate the CEJ. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. I'm going to flip over. Let's pan over to the screen here. So CEREC, we've got the scan of our patient today. This is our patient that comes through us to the Infusion Foundation. She's a VA, and so we have a great opportunity to provide her this service of replacing some failing teeth. These teeth were removed back in September, bone grafting done, the sites have matured, and now we're ready to place an implant for her. But what we want to talk about really is with restorative driven implantology, you can see how flat our ridge is, how wide it is. This looks fantastic. Question would be, why don't you just flap it, open it up, drop the implant? We do it all day long. We've done it for years. Well, what I want to demonstrate today is a concept of restorative driven implantology where I can go in with this technology and I can come in and marginate where I feel the crown should be. And I can take this information then and do what we call a CEJ. So this represents our patient's CEJ. And the uniqueness to that is now this really dictates on my plan how deep my implant needs to be. So knowing where my CEJ is and where my tissue needs to rest once this restoration is done is all dictated by my CEJ. So with that in mind, literally I can come in and design a crown, let the software do its thing. Now that the crown's designed, I can look at its size, its shape, its orientation. I can come in and do just a quick manipulation and go, I think I need to see this out just a little bit. We want to turn it just a little bit. I can come in over the top of the ridge and look at down the restoration and go, well, maybe I want it just a little bit here. Now, from this information, there's a lot that's coming from this information. I've got now my curve, my occlusion height, my orientation, buccolingual, anterior, posterior, as well as my CEJ. With this information, I can now take this information and export it and send it to my files to now take this information and overlay it over the top of my cone beam. That is a ton of information. I know that we're going very quickly. We really want to demonstrate what are we, 9 minutes away, 8 minutes away, 11 minutes away from going live surgery. So there's a lot of information to pack in on the power of this technology, but that is super amazing that I can take that and now put it over our cone beam. So let's walk through what that looks like here on our cone beam. So once that's brought in over our cone beam, if you look at this information here, so now we have the cone beam and you can see that the CAD/CAM has been imported. I have an implant plan. I can see my nerve and I can see the orientation of that implant. So let's break that down and really show you what that looks like. So let's bring this image up. This is one we're all familiar with, kind of the panel view. The panel view kind of gives me orientation, it gives me some information. But if I really want to see what's going on with this tooth, is this screen here. So check this out. I can make this one large. So now I have the orientation. I can see the extraction sites. I can see the bone. I can see where my native bone is, where the bone grafting material is. I can see where my nerve is. I can kind of spin through this software and I can look at my orientation. So this is an amazing opportunity to bring this information together in planning an implant where I've got a restorative driven implant. Let's do this too, because this is a cool view. We'll pop that. So literally, if I bring this a little bit larger for you guys to see, I can actually see my orientation. So I can look at this and go, here's my axis of the implant from buccolingual, anterior, posterior. If I take this, I click this off real quick, go back to full view, I can see now that my implant is actually functioning in the occlusal table. How many of us have had a restoration or an implant given to us from a specialist that only follows the bone? So, in essence, we're bringing this up here a little bit larger. A lot of times in the posterior, now this patient's got a very vertical jawbone, which is great, but many times our jawbone is in this orientation, kind of that lingual orientation. And if we were to place an implant there, that implant restoration's got to come out the lingual and then have a vertical component to the abutment. But then that patient's chewing on it in that horizontal component. We know that long-term, that's going to produce an opportunity for failure. So here's another really cool tool. Let's bring this one up. I can measure now. So now I can actually tell how deep I want my implant. So this implant from the CEJ to the head of the implant is about 3.5 millimeters. That's great. That's right about where I want it. If I was to bring this implant up and take it up to what it looks like the crestal bone height, and I take this measurement, let's grab that measurement, and I shorten that measurement, I made it disappear. Where's that? Well, where did it go? There it is. We're at like, you can see that actually I'm above. If I go to the crestal, well, that's the tissue height. I'm going to drop this down to the crestal bone height. I'm less than 2 millimeters. So you guys, this is something that we see all the time. I see where an implant comes from a specialist or even another dentist, a patient's moving, comes in and the implant's right at the crestal bone height. Ideal, right? We've flapped it. We've done our osteotomy, our implant's right at crestal bone height. That makes us warm and fuzzy, but we only have 2 millimeters of attached tissue over that ridge. We know that restoration now is going to have absolutely no convergent or emergent profile. We have no ability to push tissue then into the embrasure space. And so it's going to be that orange on a toothpick. You're going to have a little narrow sleeve where the custom abutment comes up, and then the tooth's going to just sit right on top of the tissue. And you've got this massive food trap hygiene, trying for the patient to keep it clean, let alone as a professionals have them come back every 4 months, 6 months to keep it clean. It's a disaster. So being able to actually manipulate, look at this from restorative driven concept. We're driving this down. We're putting this down where we want to see a 3 to 3.5 millimeter from the head of the implant to where I want my CEJ to rest. That's kind of a happy place in the system. Again, we're going pretty deep into this. What you need to understand is that with this concept, we've got opportunities for you to come back. So at 3D Infusion, we have a couple of things. We're partnering with Henry Schein and with Dentsply Sirona. We appreciate their sponsorship and their collaboration. What I should let you know is to jump on 3dinfusiondental.com. We run to our website. We have opportunities for you to actually do this live. You come in, you manipulate the software, you work with our patients. A unique piece of 3D Infusion is we have the opportunity to partner with a foundation, the Infusion Foundation, and have a live patient base for you to work on. Arizona allows us to credential you to do a certain amount of live work, live day work here in our state. So you can come in with your teams, run through the workflow. We can train you on it. So instead of just watching somebody do it, it really gives you an opportunity to do it yourself. An amazing opportunity. Let's see. So just a heads up, it looks like we lost a little bit of image clarity in our broadcast. If there's some things you missed, you want me to back up and review, we should have opportunities towards the end of this. But let's do this. Let's jump back. So now I've got this implant designed. Great, and we're trying to go as live as we can, real time with covering this as much as we can. But quite literally from here, I'm going to go and I'm going to send this out. So we're going to queue up that information real quick. So this is going to put our plan together. A great opportunity. So this plan is then printed. My team picks it up. From there, we export the file. Let me jump back over to our screen here. So let's look at what it looks like when we bring in our CEREC guide. So when we bring the CEREC guide back in play, this is our CEREC, and literally we want to import that information. We're going to come up and find our scan. So this is the plan coming out of SICAT 2.0. From here, we're going to literally just tell it. It's going to tell us, just like with anything else, we're going to come in and manipulate the software, move it forward, and literally be able to design our guide, walk through it. I've created a couple of windows so I can see and make sure that it's seated. You're noticing that today we're doing implant tooth number 19. There's nothing posterior, so you actually have a tissue rest, We get that question all the time with CEREC Guide. Can you do a distal extension? Can you do a tissue rest? And it works fantastic. You can see that we're coming across the arch, very stable guide. We'll go in and allow us to now place the implant exactly where we design it. So what we talk about all the time in restorative driven implantology and this concept with CEREC Guide is that this is virtually freehand, so that when we go to the patient, everything is guided. So we walk through, virtually place everything freehand for a guided workflow. All right, I think there is one more question.
Do you routine print or mill your guides?
So right now we are printing, or we are milling our guides. We're using our CEREC workflow and the CEREC mills that we have currently that's doing all the other workload, expanding that function. Our average time to create a guide, to mill a guide, is about 23, 25 minutes, somewhere in there. And we can walk through and show you how that goes. Matter of fact, let's do this. We've got this in play here. We're going to move that forward to manufacture. So this is going to show me that the guide's coming out of this block. And let's go over to the mill unit. Actually, let's do a field trip. Well, why don't you follow me? Let's do this. Different part of the playground. Yeah, all of the toys are open. Let's go look at a different part of the playground. Follow me. We'll try not to show my backside too much because it's, it's not necessarily my best side. So check this out. This is a mill unit. If you haven't seen a mill unit before, this is amazing. Literally, we're gonna have you zoom in on this. So this is going to be our guide. And it's going to get ready to mill. I'm going to actually cue over to a video really quick. And we're going to show you this milling as we get our patient ready. So patient's getting ready in operatory 1 to go live to provide you that implant experience. While we're getting that patient ready, check out the video of this guide getting made. Am I still cued, Mike? I should have probably warned you that you needed to turn your volume down. Some have responded that this blows their speakers and then the dogs go crazy. But we wanted to show you the sound. We get a lot of questions. Well, I hear the sound's horrible. You should see the difference between the door being open and the door being closed. So we have a soundproof booth coming down now. And literally, this is right outside my hygiene department at my office. So with the shield down, very, very quiet as far as the decibels and everything else goes. Back, we've got our patient in the chair. We're ready to get going and demonstrate the 10-minute implant. Now, guys, realize we call it the 10-minute implant. The last time we did it was 5 minutes and 30 seconds or 6 minutes and 20 seconds. It might be 11 minutes, 12 minutes. We call it's an average of a 10-minute implant. The idea is the concept that as a general practitioner, I can do an implant in 10 minutes. I can be super efficient, super productive. I can drop it into my workflow, whether I'm doing crown and bridge, fillings, doing my hygiene. I have the opportunity to bring this in and not shut down a whole day's production to go into a surgical mindset. We want to demonstrate a couple of things. We're going to switch back to our patient side right here. Go down on our technology here. So one of the really cool things we want to demonstrate with Astra is the Astra implant workflow. Because we've gone through and done a restorative driven implant, this is literally all that comes to our surgery. So those of you that are doing implants, have exposure to implants, you realize that typically you've got an instrumentarium or armamentarium of 100 or 200 pieces of of instruments trying to, so that when you flap, you have everything right there at your fingertips that you need to provide that implant service for your patient. Because we did it virtually, literally, we have a tissue punch, we have our osteotomy drills, we have a cortical drill that's going to create our flare for our conical implant. We have our driver, we have our implant and a cover screw, or an implant healing abutment screw. That is really all that comes to the table. So my team can walk through the plan, provide this. When we go chairside, I've been doing implants in dentistry for a long time. When you can minimize how much is out in front of the patient, you scare your patient less. It's a great marketing tool to be able to provide a service that quickly and that efficiently that is not scary to our patient base. So with that, let's bring Carrie back. And we're going to get ready to go live. Carrie, how you doing? We excited today?
Yes, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Carrie's fantastic. She's participated with us before in the past and has been gracious enough to come to you and actually give you guys this experience as well. So we want to thank her for that. So we're going to turn this off. Can my camera guy get in close there? I'm going to move some things. So the fun part about working live is getting camera shots so you guys can see what we're doing, but then we get to see what we're doing as well. So let me add, we've already given a little bit of anesthetic to Carrie. Go ahead and open, sweetie, good. Let me add just a little bit more to that ridge. So. Good, I'm just making sure that the soft tissue is numb all the way. We doing all right, sweetie?
Yes.
Okay. So this is our CEREC guide. We'll take a look at that and see that there. So this is one that was milled out for this patient. This is what we walked through on our design earlier tonight. We place that in the mouth and get this great fit. This is an amazing fit, very stable, does not rock. So literally now with this type of a guide, I can hold it with one hand, my team can hold it with one hand, can retract, and we can do the work that we need to do. And I don't have to have 6 hands in here trying to help stabilize to make this happen. So we had an opportunity in with our planning process to determine that with Carrie today, we can do just a tissue punch. So we do not have to flap. She's got plenty of attached tissue. So we're going to go through. We're going to just do some suction there real quick. Yeah. Just go ahead and take that out. I'm going to go back over that. So what we're doing with our tissue punch is just scoring the osseous there for our patient. Now this is going to be the part that hopefully we don't have any periodontists on board today, because this always makes them cringe a little bit. But because we have a really good ridge and the site's mature and prepped, literally we can just come in here and we're going to take that little thwarp of tissue out, and it is gone. And all of our periodontists just fainted. So with them out of the picture, we're going to walk through now and do our osteotomies. So. All right, Carrie, so we're using some saline water as well, so has that nice salty flavor. And we're going to take our osteotomy drills that are from let's see if I can get the seat there. Good. I'm going to come in here. Good. Good, I'll have you just hold that there. Perfect. Good job. Okay. So literally we're just going to kind of do our osteotomy here. How are we doing on visibility? Cameraman, do we need a little bit of light, or are you good? Okay. I'm going to come up and out of here just a little bit. Okay. So what we need to demonstrate with this as well, which is super cool, is let's kind of do this real quick. So this is a sleeve-on drill system from Astra Implant. And literally my sleeve, instead of having a surgical key set, the sleeve literally just slides up and down on the osteotomy drill itself. So I don't have to use the second hand to hold the key inside my guide. The guide is there, so you can see as we go back to here, if it's not too bright. How are we doing on brightness, cameraman? Right there. Okay. So as we go on that, you're going to see, because I'm going to kind of block you out. You're good. You got right on the front. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to do our osteotomy here. Good. And that sleeve comes right out with the osteotomy drill. So each drill has its own sleeve, so that as we gear up and go through this, we'll just make sure our sleeve gets down fully seated in our guide. Good. Good. Carrie, how we doing, sweetie? You doing good? I get 2 thumbs up. Okay. Come in with drill number 3 here. Okay. Let's go ahead and take that guide out. Do a little irrigation for her. Let's take a look at that side. It'd be interesting to show our participants. So, if you noticed, if you were doing freehand implantology, typically you're going to do your implant, you're going to flap, you're going to do your implant, you're going to do some verification pins, get your orientation. Go ahead and close, relax just a little bit there, Carrie. With this, because we already know and trust our system, we know that the guide is forcing us to put the implant right where we previously planned it. So quite literally, the verification has already been done virtually, so we can go right to the mouth and not take the time to walk through and do a bunch of X-rays to verify that piece. So from here, we're going to kind of create the conical shape. Section from right there. Good. Okay. Let's irrigate that one more time. Go ahead, I'll have you do that for me, Kim. All right, guys. We are getting ready to place the implant. So we're just taking the implant out. If the cameraman wants to pan out here a little bit, number 1, look at the team that's behind me. It's me and Kim. Can we push that over there? Just me and Kim. So if you're thinking there's a huge production crew here trying to figure out how to do implants, it's just me and Kim and Carrie that are doing this. So this is everyday stuff. This is what I do in my practice every day. This is something we can teach you. And with the technology, really provide a service for your patients. So as we take out the implant here, we've got our driver now in place. We've switched our motor over to implant. We've set the torque value. We come in there and pick up that implant. There we go. Make sure that stays there on my implant. Little friction fit piece. Good. All right. Implant is in place. Go ahead and throat pack for me, please. Nope. A little throat pack, and we're gonna go to implant placement. All right, good. Hold on, a little suction there for you. Good. All right. How's our lighting there, cameraman? Okay. So implant's ready to go. I'm going to make sure it's turning. We're going to go in for placement. A little bit of pressure. How are we doing, Carrie? Doing okay? Good deal. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and take that throat pack out. Awesome. So with that being in place, let's take a look at that. Can you see that, team? Okay, so that has really strong bone. So this implant was done, or the extraction was done in September. The placement, as I was doing the osteotomy, the bone felt a little bit weak just in the osteotomy, but that's probably because we have really sharp drills. So in my opinion, we've got just a little bit from my plan. I think we've got just a little bit of a premature set. So I'm letting that set just a little bit. I'm going to back this out just a touch. There we go. We're going to put it back forward now. Go through this, right? Good deal. Okay. Get that implant back on there. There we go. Get our cameraman back cued on there. You ready, cameraman?
Yeah, that's fine.
Fingers are out of the scene. Here we go.
You want to come over here?
There we go. Yeah, that looks really good. I'm going to give it. So I love power everything. We've got the opportunity now to just, I'm going to put a little bit of flex because I think we need to go down just a little bit more. It's torquing out at 45 on my motor. So with that in place, I'm going to go and take this opportunity just to give it just a little more flex because I feel like it needs to be down just a little bit more for our patients. Restorative. And what I love about EV is it will reset itself at 45. So I can never over torque this implant. So one full rotation is about 0.6 millimeters of vertical. Let's see what that looks like. I like that. Perfect. Okay, that looks fantastic. Let's do this. That's our implant placement with a little bit of narrative and a little bit of information. What is our time? 8 minutes? 7 minutes, 57 seconds. It didn't go down all the way the first time. We backed it a little bit, gave it a little bit more torque. Torqued at 45, which is fantastic. So I'm going to step out. We're going to do some narration. We'll do some summarizing. Kim's going to get some X-rays for me. Let me sit up the patient. Carrie, you did awesome.
Thank you
Nice
so
job.
much.
Your ideal patient. He's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get some X-rays, and we'll show you guys those X-rays as soon as we get them up. But let's step out. We're going to go out here and queue up and go through the kind of our summary. So a 10-minute implant takes us to 6:45. We've got 15 minutes. Let's sit down here, turn my light off, my mic on. Awesome. Let's shoot up here. And I'm going to go ahead and close this. As Kim kind of finalizes our patient, we'll get the X-rays and we'll demonstrate. Oh, I won't do that all the way. Close me out. All right, guys, can you see how impactful that can be? Literally, that was as seamless as it goes. There's always little things that, as we get into implantology, that we move down the line. There's times where that torque's super high, crestal bone height's a little bit tight. There's ways to go about addressing that. As a GP, the biggest takeaway I could give you in this scenario is to, if you're interested in implants and introducing implants to your practice, understand that the implantology concept, typically the business side of it is very difficult to understand and bring into your practice. At 3D Infusion, we have the opportunity to sign up for a class. They're limited. I believe we only allow six participants at a time with their team to be here and walk through this live process. It is absolutely amazing. You don't need to go out of the country. You don't need to go to Costa Rica, Dominican Republic. And really, we want to see and give our opportunities, our local VA group, our veterans, an opportunity for services like this. So it's a great opportunity to reach out and give back to our community, but also learn a workflow to take back to your practice to then incorporate and provide the service for your patient. Absolutely amazing. Let's see here. So Dr. Deepak, did I say it right at this time? Deepak, Tupac, Deepak, we'll throw some gang. Yeah, that's fast. And guys, literally, if I can do it, we can teach you how to do it. I have to probably say the most underemphasized part of learning implantology. The most undervalued, I think in our profession, the most undervalued skill set is literally your team. Your team has to be calibrated. I think, let me do this. I'm going to close this out real quick. I'm going to move us over just a little bit here. Yeah, lost camera. Were we on? Oh, did we lose camera 4? Did I pull it? Just so that we get some. But guys, it is super fast. And you know, it's kind of funny. We set up real cameras here. We used to set up with GoPro because I love the point of view action feature as you walk in and out. And as we walk out like that, we got everybody coming in and out of our scenes here. This is live. There's like I said, this is uncut. This is real. But it's the same way in your dental practices. Your dental practices have this same issue. You get interrupted by hygienists. You get interrupted by front desk. You get interrupted by emergencies. You get interrupted by spouse. You get interrupted by kids. There's always things that are happening in our practices. So to be able to take a few minutes to walk through this virtual concept and really focus, probably one of the most impactful things to me when I started down this road and understanding this disruptive workflows is when I step into with the patient to do the surgery, it's not the first time I've done the surgery. I've done it virtually already once. I was able to plan out, walk through, look at every aspect. I can spend as much time as I want or as little time as I need to get the implant where it needs to be for that restorative driven concept. When I step into with a patient, it's not my first time seeing it. So I'm able to do the tissue punch, do the osteotomy, place the implant, 45 newtons on its seat, which is awesome. They're telling me the X-rays up. Do you want to cue back to that real quick? Let's take a look there. Fantastic. And that was at 45. So that is fantastic. You can see the bone, the PA. I'm going to have the assistant go ahead and place the healing abutment in there, get it torqued down, and we'll let the patient go. Say it again. Questions?
First question, what kind of 3D printers do you use?
3D printers that we use. I'll tell you what's happening. Right now, Sprint Ray. I've been a proponent of CNC mill because it's just absolutely amazing. The technology is just slamming. It allows me to do things that I've never been able to do in my practice before. I've worked with a lot of dentists. When I first came out, we had a veteran dentist. We call it veteran dentists. Old guys like me, when I came out into the field 20 years ago, they're 45, 50 years old, that now have retired, and they come and look at this technology, and it just blows their mind that we're doing this type of workflows with patients. The 3D printing, in my opinion, my humble opinion, has been a little bit off. But again, that was the same thing with CEREC when it was RedCam. It just didn't interest me because the software hadn't caught up to the hardware. 3D printing is an amazing concept. We are finally seeing now the software really catch up. Sprint Ray has an amazing product. Entry level is affordable. They just had material now that's approved for temporary tooth placement, so you can 3D print teeth. You can 3D print a guide. I think we're getting the 3D printing of guides down to 40 minutes. It is absolutely amazing what's happening in that environment. So 3D printing guides, 3D printing night guards, 3D printing, going through if you end up wanting to do your own liners, being able to print models. It's amazing what that's doing. So now you have an opportunity, and what we really try to focus on here at 3D Infusion at the playground is workflows. Workflow, and then you can plug in the technology as you see fit. I've got doctors now that have multiple scanners, multiple tech, whether it's mill units, 3D printers. They still have off-site labs that they may work with. The workflow and creating the opportunity to do this type of service for a patient is absolutely amazing. That was a long answer to a short question.
For the mill, is it the same mill you use for crowns, or do you need two different mills?
Same mill I use for the crowns. You switch out, I think I've got the 4-motor mill, so I switch out one of the burrs. I know there's always been questions, well, I heard it gungs up and it really messes with it. We've got a system. We'll show you. It's super simple. A filter that catches the debris from the milling of the guide. So my team can go from milling a guide to a crown to a bridge, same mill unit, and just stack those systems and walk right through it. Really streamlined, really efficient.
Is the CEREC the only system you discuss at 3D Infusion?
Currently, yes. Yeah, CEREC is it. There's a lot of new scanners coming out on the market. I would probably say the most impactful right now is just the direct imaging from CEREC. So, in the past, as we talk with the doctors and step into this digital environment, it's like, well, I don't know that I want a mill unit and an oven. I don't know that I want all of that technology, but the being able to digitally capture CEREC on CAD was really interesting. But how do I get just a direct imaging component? And they've had that. They're launching that. They launched that, I believe, 3 months ago, 3 years ago. But we're just seeing it really become evident right now. So if you look at that, because I had a conversation with a dentist the other day, because he bought a practice, has some other scanners, some other technology in it. And the discussion was, where do you want to go? What's your solution? Are you wanting to go to implants? Do you want to design your own guides? Do you want to mill and or print your guides in your practice? Or do you want a third party send it out? What's your workflow? What's your solution? And that concept moving into CEREC is probably, in my opinion, one of the easiest and smartest decisions as a direct imaging component, because if you want to go out third party, you third party it. If you want to mature in the technology and bring in a mill unit, you can. The other CAD CAM industry, the other direct imaging systems don't allow that expansion on that product. So I think that's what's so unique, and what I love about Dentsply Sirona is it allows me to bring the whole family of products. I can step in just a little at a time, or I can jump into the deep end, bring all the products together and provide that service right away. Let's see what we got. Man, we're dropping things. So there's a question about incentives or what's happening right now in the industry. I think Henry Schein has 84 months at 4.95%. So looking at technology, getting into it simply, reach out to your Henry Schein rep, reach out to your Dentsply Sirona rep. Look at your calendar, look at the opportunity to get into our March 19th event. We'll get deeper into the woods. You're going to see implants live in your practice. You're going to see CEREC live in your practice. You're going to get opportunity to manipulate software, be able to walk through the scans just like I did. We can show you. And we've got the process of being live with me, my team, talking with an oral maxillofacial radiologist, a specialist in the sleep dental environment. We'll have Doug Fettig here again, talk about CPA, talk about your write-offs, the how to be a CEO, how to be a CFO, what makes sense to your practice. It's really interactive and a really unique opportunity to go knee to knee, toe to toe with us here at the playground while you're still in your practices. Have a team member there and walk through and get excited about technology.
You kind of already answered this one, but
Did I?
when would you mill versus 3D printed?
I pretty much mill 90% of what I do right now. The tech, again, it comes to the technology, the software. I know I don't want to jump ahead too far with SprintRite, but there are some opportunities coming down the line to where you can take a quick scan. You'll be able to upload it to their system and online be able to have a guide design sent back to print. You print at your office. As that comes live and comes into our practices, again, it's workflow. You're going to be about the same time frame. It's just workflow. Who's using what? When is the printer being used? Can I go to a mill unit? Is the mill unit being used? Can I go to the printer? Again, I can't say enough about having a calibrated team. Having a team calibrated that understands all that movement and that flow just allows you as a dentist to just plug away, go at it, and provide the same result to your patient.
This concludes the end of part 2 of the 3D Expo On Demand series. If you have any questions about what you've learned, please reach out to your Henry Schein representative. If you are interested, this series continues with part 3 titled How CBCT Does More Than Just Implants. Grow your practice with sleep and clear aligners. To watch part 3, please visit henryscheindigital.com/3dexpo to register.